Hello and welcome to Beyond the Pour. I'm Nilu, your sommelier host. We're talking all things hospitality, and my guest today is Mel Heim. And welcome, Mel. We are going to talk about this incredible bottle of whiskey you got.
Thanks, Nilu. Happy to be
Well,
here.
welcome to Beyond the Pour.
Okay.
And it was so great listening to you in San Diego about your specific bottle. I'm sure there's some more. Is there more that you make, or you just make this one?
For this business, this is the only product I make. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it is called Big Nose Kate. And I love that we've got the bottle right next to you. So could you could you possibly start by telling us where you are, what your job is, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. I'm located in Portland, Oregon, and my job, luckily, is to be the CEO and blender of Big Nose Kate whiskey. So my full gig is making this wonderful product and sharing it with the world.
Yeah. Gosh. And when you look at the name Big Nose Kate, I dabble in whiskey a little bit. Don't see this name. This comes from a true story
Yes.
that you feel really resonates with the bottle, with your style of distilling and making this. And I'd love to hear from you how you pick this name, number one, and how it connects to the whole concept of your bottle.
Sure. The name was inspired by a real person, so it's not a name that we pulled out of thin air. It was one of those names that we read in a book, and my co-founder, bless him, and I, an English major with a whiskey making problem, both fell in love with this name, and we said, "What? Who is this person?
Right.
Who is Big Nose Kate?" And it was my co-founder, Paul Earle, actually wrote it down. He had
Yeah.
heard it in a story, and so upon further investigation, we read her biography and uh, fell in love with this fascinating untold story, which was the life of Big Nose Kate, who that is obviously a moniker that somebody gave her, but she was born Maria Magdalena Isabella Horany. She was a Hungarian immigrant. Her name was anglicized over the years to be Mary Catherine, Mary Kate, and then eventually Big Nose Kate. And then
Oh,
she wore that final, yeah, that final name was more of a badge of honor for her. And so, yeah, she was a Western icon that really didn't get her due. She's one of the underdogs, one of those unsung characters who was, because of Hollywood and the kind of singularity and storytelling from, those wild Western days. Her life was diminished to that of a side character, a supporting character, and the more we learned about her, the more we realized she was very much a main character.
right, right. So what era was she in the Western world?
So she was in the American Southwest in the 1880s and 1890s, around the time the shooting at the OK Corral, and really when these ghost towns are becoming boom towns.
Hmm.
That's when and where she was, and
Yeah.
she passed away in 1940 in Prescott, Arizona.
So, but but the story at the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, is so she's from Hungary. Her parents give her up, or her mom gives her up
They
to
both passed away.
they both passed away, and then she is taken by a nun to the kind of orphanage slash church or somewhere she was going to grow up. Is that correct?
Yes,
And she decides,
yes.
I'm not going.
Yeah, she was made the state was her ward. She was awarded the state,
Yeah.
and they were sending her and her sister to the Ursuline school. Yes, a convent,
Yeah.
to be raised. And her sister went, and she did not.
And she just at the doorstep, she's like, no,
She
this
just
is not going to be
walked
for me.
away. Yep.
Walked away and decided to, without any money, decided to
Nope.
kind of figure out life, right? And did she do a little bit of work on the streets kind of thing?
She
A little
did
bit
a
of
lot.
that? A lot of it. Okay, not a
A
little
lot of it. Yeah,
bit.
no, it's how she made her keep.
Yeah. And she doesn't seem to have a big nose. So I don't know why they called her
No.
that, poor thing. She actually is a good-looking woman,
Well, let
right?
me tell you, that's actually the interesting part. It's such a good conversation starter for
Yeah,
this
for
brand and this
sure.
topic.
Yeah.
She has a totally proportionate nose. It was actually Wyatt Earp, one of the cowboys. She was the common law wife of Doc Holliday, and so she followed him, and he followed her, and was in his business. She was very famously known for saying, "Your business is my business," and that's what made her an entrepreneur. But it was Wyatt Earp who said, "Kate, get your big nose out of our business," and then only
Oh,
referred to her as Big Nose Kate after that.
oh, he was the one that kind of did that. Okay. It wasn't in the previous life where she was doing yeah. Okay. I just didn't know where it was that she was named that. And so she was very much wanting to be an entrepreneur, right? And
Yes.
how did she continue that once she was there, once she was with him?
Yeah, so her upbringing, she actually came from a very affluent family. They were very affluent in Hungary, and her father was a physician. She was multilingual. And so when she came to the States, she wasn't starting from scratch. She knew how to learn,
Yeah.
which, is probably the biggest barrier. And so she asked questions. She followed people. She was never really satisfied with the ground level entry position. So she was a sex worker and she began that work in Dodge City and in Texas, but then became a madam. I mean, she just asked enough questions. She said, I want to
Okay.
be the boss. I want to be my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
she met Doc Holliday in the Earps, he was playing Pharaoh, playing cards, and he wasn't that good. And she learned the game and she actually became very good and started running her own card tables.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
yeah, so Kate, she was, again, potential over credential. She didn't have, the education or the opportunity, but she was well endowed to figure it out
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah. And so I remember that you said that you were an English major. And
Yes,
we were all laughing about that because at the table there was a few people with an English major um,
yes,
that had gone into distilling and stuff like that. It's funny, my major is also English
yes. We talked
language.
about this.
I wanted to go, hey, but maybe we do that and then we're super creative as far as like thinking, what can we do? Um, in the big bad world. And I feel like um, a lot of people that seems like women that have studied English literature, they're very fascinated with the history. The books that we read, obviously through that time, we're learning about a lot about women and how strong they were and what they did. And I think, all of us being entrepreneurs, we love that side of history. And I love how you've taken, your brand and kind of made it around Kate, Big Nose Kate. And but from what I understood, your whole philosophy is about, you know, uh, I don't really care about the exact like I don't have to follow the rules. I can kind of do
No,
my own thing. And I want to hear you explain that part because you can explain it better. But you were like, I'm just doing my thing and I'm liking it and that's the way that Kate was doing her thing. Do you agree
exactly.
with that? Yeah.
I do agree. Yes, Kate was definitely an enigma of a character, and what has really been grinding my gears, if you will, being in this industry for a really long time, is that whiskey in particular in the spirit space has a timeline issue. And to me, the timeline issue is that whiskey tends to either live in the past or it's projecting into the future.
Mhm.
And in my insight to this and in opinion is that, the heyday of great whiskey making is right now. Like
Yeah.
it's happening right now. There's never been more innovation. There's never been more diversity in the space, more people making product and experimenting and leaning into traditions, but doing their own thing. This is the craft movement of the last 20 years. And why we're not celebrating it in real time why are we going to wait 20 years to celebrate it? We need to really be pushing boundaries right now and celebrating it right now. So, as a distiller, not just distilling actual spirits, but distilling information and kind of
Yes.
picking out, what works and what isn't. It's, the progression of the American palate, the progression of interest in new and different things. It's the progression of the consumer. And there's a lot to learn from the past, but really we have all the tools necessary to kind of reinvent, what is quality
Yeah.
and why do we honor certain things and not other things. And it doesn't have to be straight whiskey, and it doesn't have to come from a specific place. It can really be anything,
Yeah.
as long as
It
it's
is
nurtured.
yours exactly is made with love. And is yours different grains in it, or what can you tell us what you utilize to make this?
Sure, this is a blend of only two grains, rye and two row barley. And so the
Okay.
styles are straight rye whiskey and the new category, American single malt. So there's no corn, which was really important for me.
Yeah.
Again, to sort of break down the homogeny of American whiskey. And there's so much corn, and we love corn. When I was like,
Yeah.
what if there was no corn? And not just push boundaries, but it made a lot of
Yeah.
sense with this person as well.
I love it. I love it. And so what when someone picks up pours that bottle, pours some of it in a glass, what are they picking
Mhm.
up? What are the aromas that they're picking up? What would
Flavor
you
wise,
yes, what would you explain? You're picking it up and you're
sure.
like, what would you say so that people can see if that's something they want to grab?
Sure. So if somebody likes rye whiskey or likes Irish whiskey or even Scotch, I would say you would like this spirit. It starts with a little punchiness from the rye, but then basically the malt comes around and kind of wraps it all in a big hug and brings it in.
Yeah.
And it's very cereal forward and it's grain forward. It's not sweet. There's no typical flavors that you'd find in American whiskey, the high vanillin content, the caramel, the kind of cookie, that you get from,
Is that
number two dent
mostly,
corn.
yeah.
You're getting malt, and you're
Is
just getting
is
grain.
is that more kind of associated with bourbon then?
It is. It is.
And so if you're not a bourbon lover, give this a try, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There we go. We
We have
deciphered
shirts.
it.
Yeah.
You have shirts that say that?
We have shirts that say not another bourbon.
There you go. See, I just came up with that myself. I need one of those.
Brilliant. I'll send you one.
Yeah, please. What sparked your love for whiskey to start with, especially in Portland? And what's the craft scene like right now?
Well, it's like anything else, it's a constant state of evolution, but Oregon, with our agriculture, really, that's what makes our food and beverage scene is that we have the land to do it.
Yeah.
We have the mountains, we have the ocean, we have the farmland. So the craft spirits, really came upon the heels of craft breweries that really kind of jump started that entire industry in the early
Mm.
80s, and then
Hmm.
craft spirits in the early aughts. We have wine country, less than an hour
Yeah.
from Portland. And so the craft scene is thriving. We have coffee culture, we do it all here.
Yeah.
We love to eat and
Yeah.
drink. So I stumbled into it, but I loved craft beer. I mean, my father grew up drinking craft beer, and so I always saw that. And when I turned 21 and like bought my first, my friends are like, go get us some beer. And I bought a 6-pack of Fat Tire. They're like, what are you doing? And I was like, uh, I bought beer. And they're like, no, we need like way more beer. And I was like, well, I only had $10. So
Right?
I bought something I
Bring the
wanted to give.
money.
Yeah.
Bring the money and I'll go in for more.
I think they were thinking like 24 Coors, and I brought six, craft beers. But so I've always loved craft, and my first job out of college was at a craft brewery doing
Nice.
data entry. And
Yeah.
because English majors, what are we doing?
Of
Um,
course. What
of
are we
course.
gonna do? What
Well,
are we gonna do
what are
there?
we doing? I will write your tasting notes is what I'll do. But it was there. I just stumbled into it, and they had a
Yeah.
pilot distillery, and it was just again like Kate, and why I relate to Kate so much. And it's the curiosity piece. Like I didn't have the credentials to be a distiller, walking out of college or even walking into the distillery, but I did have the curiosity, and I was willing to learn it, which made me qualified instantly.
Yeah.
So I just fell in love with it. I didn't even realize there were distilleries around here, and then once your eyes are open to it, you're like, oh, there's like six within a couple blocks, and I just visited and asked questions, and yeah, I definitely, it needed to be explained to me in a way that I understood.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, since we're on that subject, how many female distillers are there in the United States? Or what's the percentage? I would probably maybe easier to
Let me check the
answer.
register.
No,
No,
you
we
don't
we
have to.
it's no,
No, roughly.
it's it's in a flux. Well, the stat that I use most of the time is that women make up 7% of the entire spirits industry workforce in the U.S. Now, how that breaks down to distiller, blender, owner, operator, um, I don't have the data, but we've actually been trying for years to accumulate that data. There's something called the Women in Distilling Project, and where we're actually trying to, in real time, add
Hmm.
women to it and get them to, add their name where they're working. And obviously these things cycle, but
Sure.
when I started, there were three. So I'll give you
You
that. In
said
2008,
that.
there were three,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now there's over 200. I mean, that
Yeah.
I could
But still, that's
name.
not a whole lot, right?
No,
It's
it's
very
not.
few. But what you're doing, the people that are part of this are doing some crazy, amazing things.
Yes.
Um, and is really cool to see. I think that was my favorite seminar. I sat in the whole of the 3 day thing. I love listening to you guys' story. It was incredible. And then how did Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone get involved with this project?
Good question. My founders and I had a common contact at the Creative Artists Agency. We had each done projects with that agency and their clientele and talent in years past. And so we, on a whim, sent bottles to the agency and
Hmm.
just said, hey, look, the three of us, which we all knew independently, have like come together as founders, and this is our new project. We didn't have really any sort of expectation. We weren't seeking anything. We were pre-revenue, pre-seed. We had done a single batch of whiskey. Those
Yeah.
bottles came from our first batch. But luckily, an agent kind of shopped it around, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of entertainment talent who is interested in the space.
Hmm.
But we were incredibly surprised when we got a call back over 7 months later that said, actually, there was somebody interested in this, and those people were Melissa's husband, Ben Falcone. And I said, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
we
because
like
they
that.
don't endorse things. Well, I like it because she's a female, and most of what we see in this space is there's a lot of men,
Hmm.
again, endorse, and they are endorsing something.
Hmm.
Um, and it's on a contract, and their job is to sell, 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 sell it so the brand can go forward and sell to a
Yeah.
larger company. She and Ben are just, they see things like we do. It's something we really love and that we're passionate about, and we like what we're
Mhm.
doing. And we're like, we don't have any money. We can't, we don't need an endorsement because it wouldn't make sense. And no one can get this product outside of New Mexico. And they
Hmm.
came on as investors, after a couple conversations. This was during the pandemic. So we're all just
Yeah.
Zooming and kind of sharing the vision.
Hmm.
Um, grow slow,
Hmm.
grow right.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they made an investment, and we're super lucky. They came in and we said, your sweat equity is worth a lot down the road, but today we actually need capital so we can make more.
Make
Um,
more than
and
one, yeah,
yeah,
one
so they're
batch, right?
partners. Hmm.
That's fantastic. That's right.
Yeah,
And are they hands-on? Do they come over there? Do they like come
they
in
came
for
to.
monthly meetings or something? No,
No,
just
we're not
interest.
going to
No,
burden them. Yeah,
no, they
we
don't
don't have.
need it. They just want like
Yes.
send me a few bottles every few months kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
they help when they're asked, because
Yeah.
we're keeping it real. All the major milestones of this company have come to fruition because of the actual work and the customer. So
Yeah.
our job is, again, they were basically silent partners for almost the entire first year after they
Hmm.
wrote us their investment check. We said there's a couple things we want to do, and we need to know if this brand has legs or if it's because of the influence of our celebrity partners. And so
Mm-hmm.
we got a distributor. We opened up a couple more states. We did an kind of a whiskey influencer kickoff because it was really important for me, for my peers, to give me like their real feedback. So we had to do
Viewpoint,
that
yeah.
first, and
Mm-hmm.
so we had a couple things on our list that we wanted to do first, and then once we got through those and said, I think we have something here, they'll pop up on Instagram and they'll pop up at a store once in a while, and but really it's they have their own lives. They're you know A-list celebrities.
Yeah,
We're like,
I
let us
love
know when you want to
it.
know something.
That's
And
it.
we'll,
Yeah.
yeah,
Otherwise, just keep sending us the bottles.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. I can do
it,
that.
what is the biggest hurdle for you in expanding Kate's distribution?
Well, distribution, it's tricky. It's a three-tier system, and it
Hmm.
has to do with goals. And so our goal is always quality over quantity. So I mean, the biggest hurdle is visibility. We're a tiny team. We're not flush with cash.
Hmm.
Um, and and so really it's just sharing the story. And then we tend to go where people ask for us. So we're not pushing
Yeah.
this to be like the number one Western whiskey in the country. Like that will come with time. We always
Yeah.
say like Tito's was a 20-year overnight success. Like all that work happened
When
behind the
you're
scenes. And
right.
then next thing you know, it's everywhere. And you're like, where did this come from? And it's like, well, actually, for 19 years, they've
Yeah.
been out there hoofing it. So
Isn't that true about any business? Like if you
100%.
finally, no one started today and became famous the next day.
No.
You go through all these ups and downs and just screaming and going crazy over what is not going right. And then one day it explodes and you have success, but nobody realizes what it took to get there, right? So it's
Yeah. So
every friggin' business is
yeah,
like that. Wow.
our barriers are actually lower than they've ever been though because of e-commerce. Um,
Right.
so we have great partners in our distributor, Southern Glazers. Like they're everywhere. Great. They're big. And that's what you want. You want people who know what they're doing and have access to things. That's a major first step. And then two, e-commerce is a great way to find out where your communities live.
Hmm. Hmm.
Without really having to go out and talk to every person. We find clusters where we have a nice community in Kansas. We have
Yeah.
a nice community in Texas. Places that we're not on the ground or in the stores, but like people know the story. They like the whiskey. They've heard about it, and
They
and
just
then we
order
have
it.
some. They order
They,
it, and we say,
they
oh,
order it.
that
Yeah.
might be a good place to open next, or.
Right. So if you see a lot of demand in one area, you might open a place there. Okay.
Yes.
Anything in California that you're thinking maybe or not?
So we're
Maybe
all over California. We have distribution here, there.
in
We
stores?
in
Okay.
in stores, yes. Now California is its own economy. It's like its own country. So while we could never be in every store, um, we just really put effort into opening Southern California in January, and so we're
Oh,
in Total
nice.
Wines, and we're in a couple of Costco's, and but it's still, I mean, it's a drop in the bucket for the potential.
Yeah.
And then same in Northern California, which we opened like 3 months later. But because California it just takes a lot of nurturing and being there. We're basically just like we take what we get. We don't need to open. We're not trying to open all the targets.
Oh, yeah, for
We don't
sure.
have the
But
bandwidth.
right now you are in Total Wine? So I could have just
Yes.
gone over there. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wait. But I think we're in like 11 total wines. So it's
Oh,
like, you
not
tell me
all
where
of
you're
them.
at.
Santa
No.
Rosa?
Oh,
No,
we're
not
in that
yet.
one. We are in that
You
one.
are in that one?
We are. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Dang it.
okay. You were
Sorry.
too busy. No, no, it's okay. Anyways, I ordered some, but I was hoping it was going to be here today, but it's okay.
Sorry
We'll
about that.
taste, we'll have some and then we know where to go get some more, right?
That's
Super
right.
easy. Santa Rosa Total Wine. They actually opened like a
Yes.
year and a half ago here, so we didn't have one. Um, then it's like walking into a candy store. It is
I
absolutely crazy.
Oregon, we don't have anything like that. Like
No?
we're a control state, so it's all
Oh, I didn't
state-run
know
liquor
that.
stores. Yeah.
So you don't have something like a total wine where you can just go
No,
crazy.
when I
Okay.
yeah, no, but I do go crazy when I go into Total Wines.
There's enough stuff to go crazy with. What's the best cocktail or pairing to enjoy with Big Nose Kate's bold
Ooh.
profile, would you say?
So Kate doesn't play well with everything. I don't drink her. I'll tell
Right?
you what not to do. I never drink this in an old fashioned at all.
You
As soon
don't.
as soon as you put simple in it, it starts to
Oh,
sort of butt heads with the grassiness. So Kate goes
wow.
really well with citrus. Fresh citrus makes an awesome sour. Um,
Okay.
and I also like Kate with bitters and aperitifs. So I'm going to be a little bougie here. Chartreuse, amazing. Makes a great
Wow.
Sazerac
Yeah.
because the anise and absinthe is also amazing. But really, you want something that's on the savory spectrum to complement the savory notes that are already in the whiskey.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, great to know that one. So we won't mess it up in an old fashioned.
Don't do it.
Won't mess her up. No, we will not. I promise you. I love old fashions, but I will not do that. And so let me ask you, if you were to open a bottle of your beautiful whiskey with someone dead or alive, can be any time in history, who would it be? And would you what food would you have with kind of pair it with that? Is that a
Well,
really
me and the
difficult question? But I don't
no,
know.
I was like, well, me and the corpse would have a feast. Yeah. Well, that's yeah. Well, history. I mean, geez.
You can be someone right now that you admire. Doesn't matter.
Well, yeah. It's someone who has passed. I would do anything to open a bottle of this with my grandfather, who passed away before
Oh,
this brand was made. Um,
yeah, yeah.
he's just a. We were buddies, and
So many
so he's
people
been.
say that about their
Yeah,
grandparents because in
I
this
know.
industry, it's
Sad.
in this industry, they're like, I wish I could have opened this bottle with my grandmother or grandfather. And it's so funny. They don't say their parents.
Well,
They say
we
their
do that all the
grandparents.
time. I have
Yeah,
it with my
that
parents all
was
the
normal.
time. I
Oh,
was
we
like,
did
my
that.
dad's got like 6 bottles of this.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're just, I wish I had the opportunity to do that. Yeah.
Yes, he passed like when I was in the beginning of my career. My grandma and I have tossed this back. She's also passed since. But no, my grandpa, I think it'd be cool because he's he's just a supporter and he's pretty straightforward and he would have been proud of it. But
Oh, yeah, yeah,
we would
yeah.
do that. And then we'd probably
Sure.
just keep it simple and eat some croissants or something. I mean, there's a pastry. Like
Really?
I would just want to
History. Okay.
relive memories that we've already had. And so they owned an antique
Perfect.
store, and we'd all show up on Saturday and drink coffee, and there'd be pastries in the back in the workshop, not for the customers, for the family, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'd spend, rainy afternoons just moping around the store, petting the store cat, and uh, I would just like to recreate those moments again,
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
adult with a product that I'm proud of.
How freaking cool. Yeah, I think that would be amazing. Um, if if you had a song to go with that afternoon in
Mm.
that spot there, what would you be playing?
Uh, Probably just instrumental jazz. I think
Nice.
in that moment we'd be singing, there'd be Girl from Ipanema would be playing in the background, just kind of, it'd be relaxing and a little upbeat, but
Mm,
uh,
hmm
it would be a perfect end cap to that moment.
Moment. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing that whole thing.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. How cool, how fun. Little family get together. So you're working slowly but steady to
Yeah.
kind of build the brand. There's no hurry. You're gonna do it
No.
right, and
Yes.
you're gonna do it the way that you want to do it and the way that Kate would want to do it. Am I right?
Yeah, we go where the opportunity is. We're not putting square pegs in round holes. And Kate didn't do that either. She rolled with the
Yeah,
punches and moved when she needed to move and kept going when she needed to keep going and stayed put when she needed to stay put. And that's
love it.
how we're building this.
It's absolutely incredible story. the name and the story. There's nothing else I can say. Obviously, I've tasted it. I thought it was fantastic. I can't wait to drink more of it.
Yes.
Um, but I do want to thank you for joining me. I know you're super, super busy, wearing a lot of
Yeah.
hats there at the distillery. Really rooting for you, to kind of show us the path with with what you're doing. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining me, Mel. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
So my pleasure.